Day 56. Deuteronomy 11-13. Deuteronomy chapter 11. The love and service of God are still inculcated, with a blessing to them that serve him, and threats of punishment if they forsake his law. Therefore love the Lord thy God, and observe his precepts and ceremonies, his judgments and commandments at all times. Know this day the things that your children know not. You saw not the chastisements of the Lord your God, his great doings and strong hand, and stretched out arm, the signs and works which he did in the midst of Egypt to Pharaoh, and to all his land, and to all the host of the Egyptians, and to their horses and chariots, how the waters of the Red Sea covered them when they pursued you, and how the Lord destroyed them until this present day, and what he hath done to you in the wilderness till you came to this place. And to Dathan and Abiram the sons of Larry, who was the son of Reuben, him the earth, opening their mouths full alive with their households and tents, and of the sons which they had in the midst of Israel. Your eyes have seen all the great works of the Lord that he hath done, that ye may keep all his commandments, which I command you this day, and may go in and possess the land to which ye are entering, and may live in it a long time, which the Lord promised by oath to your fathers, unto their seed, a land which floweth with milk and honey. For the land which thou goest to possess is not like the land of Egypt, from whence thou camest out, where, when the seed is sown, waters are brought in to water it after the manner of gardens. But it is a land of hills and plains, expecting rain from heaven. And the Lord thy God doth always visit it, and his eyes are on it from the beginning of the year unto the end thereof. If then ye obey my commandments, which I command thee this day, that ye love the Lord thy God, and serve him with all your heart, and with all your soul, he will give to thee the land, the early rain and the latter rain, the heather and the corn, and the wine, and the oil, and the hay out of the fields to feed the cattle, and the may be filled. But where lest perhaps your heart be deceived, and you depart from the Lord, and say strange gods, and adore them, and the Lord being angry said of heaven, that the rain come not down, nor the earth yield her fruit, and you perish quickly from the excellent land, which the Lord will give you. Lay up these words in your hearts and minds, and hang them for a sign on your hands, and place them between your eyes. Teach your children that they meditate on them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest on the way, and when thou liest down and risest up. Thou shalt write them upon the posts and the doors of thy house, that thy days may be multiplied, and the days of thy children in the land which the Lord swore to thy fathers, that he would give them as long as the heaven and over the earth. For if ye keep the commandments which I command you, and do them, to love the Lord your God, and walk in all his ways, cleaving unto him, the Lord will destroy all these nations before your face, and you shall possess them which are greater and stronger than you. Every place that your feet shall tread upon shall be yours. From the desert, and from Libanus, from the great river Euphrates unto the western sea shall be your borders. None shall stand against thee. The Lord your God shall lay the dread and fear of thee upon all the land that you shall tread upon, as he hath spoken to thee. Behold, I set forth in your sight this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing, if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you this day. A curse, if you obey not the commandments of the Lord your God, but revolt from the way which now I show you, and walk after strange gods which you know not. And when the Lord thy God shall have brought thee into the land, whither thou goest to dwell, thou shalt put the blessing upon Mount Gerizim, the curse upon Mount Ebal, where the blessing got. See Jude 27. Proud, etc. in Jesuit 33, etc. Which are beyond the Jordan, behind the way that goeth to the setting of the sun, in the land of the Canaanite who dwelleth in the plain country over against Gilgal, which is near the valley that reacheth and entereth far. For they shall pass over the Jordan to possess the land, which the Lord your God will give you, that ye may have it and possess it. See therefore that ye fulfill the ceremonies and judgments which I shall set this day before thee. Deuteronomy chapter 12. All idolatry must be extirpated, sacrifices, tithes, and firstfruits must be offered in one only place. All eating of blood is prohibited. These are the precepts and judgments that ye must do in the land, which the Lord the God of thy fathers will give thee to possess it all the days that thou shalt walk upon the earth. Destroy all the places in which the nations that ye shall possess worship their gods upon high mountains and hills, and under every shady tree overthrow their altars, and break down their statues, burn their groves with fire, and break their idols in pieces, destroy the names out of those places. You shall not do so to the Lord your God, but you shall come to the place which the Lord your God shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there, and to dwell in it. And you shall offer in that place your holocausts and victims, the tithes and firstfruits of your hands, and your vows and gifts, the firstborn of your herds and your sheep. And you shall eat there in the sight of the Lord your God, and you shall rejoice in all things, whereunto you shall put your hand, you and your houses, wherein the Lord your God hath blessed thee. You shall not do the things were do here this day every man that which seemeth quit himself. For until this present time you are not come to rest, and to the possession which the Lord your God will give you. You shall pass over the Jordan, and shall dwell in the land which the Lord your God will give you, that you may have rest from all enemies round about, and may dwell without any fear in the place which the Lord your God shall choose, that his name may be therein. Thither shall you bring all the things that I command you, holocausts, and victings, and tithes, and the first fruits of your hands, and whatsoever is the choicest in the gift which you shall vow to the Lord. This shall you feast before the Lord your God. Then your sons and your daughters, your men to servants and maid to servants, and the lover that dwelleth in your cities. For he hath no other part and possession among you. Who will thou offer thy holocaust in every place that thou shalt see, but in a place which the Lord shall choose in one of thy tribes shalt thou offer sacrifices, and shalt do all that I command thee. But if thou desirest to eat, and eating of flesh delight thee, kill, and eat according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he hath given thee in thy cities, whether it be unclean, that is to say, having blemish or defect, or clean, that is to say, sound and without blemish, such as may be offered as the roe and the hart, shalt thou eat it. Only the blood thou shalt not eat, but thou shalt pour it out upon the earth as water. Thou mayst not eat in thy towns the tithes of thy corn, and thy wine, and thy oil, the first fruit of thy herds and thy cattle, nor anything that thou vowest, and that thou wilt offer voluntarily, and the first fruits of thy hands. But thou shalt eat them before the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant and maidservant, and the levit that dwelleth in thy cities. And thou shalt rejoice and be refreshed before the Lord thy God in all things, whereunto thou shalt put thy hand. Take heed thou forsake not the levit and thy lace and the linged. When the Lord thy God shall have enlarged thy borders, as he hath spoken to thee, and thou wilt eat the flesh that thy soul desireth, and if the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, that his name should be there, be far off, thou shalt kill of thy herds and of thy flocks, as I have commanded thee, and shalt eat in thy tents, as it pleaseth thee. Even as the robe and the hart is eaten, so shalt thou eat them, both the clean and unclean shall eat of them alike. Only beware of this, that thou eat them the both, for the blood is for the soul, and therefore thou must not eat the soul with the flesh. But thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water, that it may be well with thee and thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is pleasing in the sight of the Lord. But the things which thou hast sanctified unto the Lord thou shalt take, and shalt come to the place which the Lord shall choose, and shalt offer thy oblations, the flesh and the blood upon the altar of the Lord thy God. The blood of thy victims thou shalt pour on the altar, and the flesh thou thyself shalt eat. Observe and hear all the things that I command thee, that it may be well with thee and thy children after thee forever, when thou shalt do what is good and pleasing in the sight of the Lord thy God. When the Lord thy God shall have destroyed before thy face the nations, which thou shalt go to possess, and when thou shalt possess them, and dwell in their land, beware lest thou imitate them after they are destroyed at thy coming in, and lest thou seek after their ceremonies, saying, as these nations have worshipped their gods, so will I also worship. Thou shalt not do in like manner to the Lord thy God. For they have done to their gods all the abominations which the Lord poureth, offering their sons and daughters, and burning them with fire. What I command thee, that only do thou to the Lord, neither add anything, nor diminish. That only do thou, etc. They are forbid here to follow the ceremonies of the heathens, or to make any alterations in the divine ordinances. Deuteronomy chapter 13. False prophets must be slain, and idolatrous cities destroyed. If there arise in the midst of thee a prophet or one that saith he hath dreamed a dream, and he foretell a sign and a wonder, and that come to pass which he spoke, and he say to thee, Let us go and follow strange gods, which thou knowest not, and let us serve them, thou shalt not hear the words of the prophet or dreamer, for the Lord thy God trieth thee, that it may appear whether they love him with all their heart, and with all their soul, or not. Follow the Lord thy God, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and hear his voice, whom ye shall serve, and to him ye shall cleave. And that prophet or forger of dreams shall be slain, because he spoke to draw you away from the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed you from the house of bondage, to make thee go out of the way which the Lord thy God commanded thee, and thou shalt take away the evil out of the midst of thee. If thy brother the son of thy mother, or thy son, or daughter, or thy wife that is in thy bosom, or thy friend, whom thou lovest as thy own soul, or persuade thee secretly, saying, Let us go and serve strange gods, for thou knowest not, nor thy fathers, of all the nations round about, that are near or far off, from one end of the earth to the other, consent not to him, hear him not, neither let thy eye spare him to pity and conceal him, but thou shalt presently put him to death. Let thy hand be first upon him, and afterwards the hands of all the people. Presently put him to death. not by killing him by private authority, but by informing the magistrate, and proceeding by order of justice. With stones shall he be stoned to death, because he would have withdrawn thee from the Lord thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, that all Israel hear and may fear, and may do no more anything like this. If in one of thy cities, which the Lord thy God shall give thee to dwell in, thou hear some say, Children of Belial are gone out of the midst of thee, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their city, and have said, Let us go, and serve strange gods, where she knew not Belial. That is, without yoke. Hence the wicked, who refuse to be subject to the divine law, are called in Scripture the children of Belial. Inquire carefully and diligently the truth of the thing by looking well into it, and if thou find that which is said to be certain, and that this abomination hath been really committed, thou shalt forthwith kill the inhabitants of the city with the edge of the sword, and shalt destroy it and all things that are in it, even the cattle. And all the household goods that are there thou shalt gather together in the midst of the streets that are, and shalt burn them with the city itself, so as to consume all for the Lord thy God, and that it be a heap forever, and shall be built no more. And thou shalt nothing of that anathema stick to thy hand, that the Lord may turn from the wrath of his fury, and may have mercy on thee, and multiply thee as he swore to thy fathers, when thou shalt hear the voice of the Lord thy God, keeping all his precepts which I command thee this day, that thou mayst do what is pleasing in the sight of the Lord thy God.